thing. I was going to incorporate some chair stuff, but if Sandra's not here, and so I would like to do a separate workout for chair things because it's not that simple to go back and forth between on my feet and in a chair. So shoulder circles, as we would always do. I'm looking for my notes. And then arm circles one at a time. And initially, don't even think about how you're doing this. Just move your arms to allow some blood flow to your shoulder. But then we will sort of try to fine tune the movements after a few reps. Now go the other direction. So if you were going backwards, try to go forwards. Now we're going to do the same thing, but with our hands on our shoulders as best you can. If this is not possible, you just bring them towards your shoulders, even on the ears or the head. And then move your arms back. The same thing, but now with your elbows. It's a weird motion, and it might feel so challenging, like it's a small little motion. Don't worry about it. Just do it however your arms, your shoulders will let you. Now go the other way. Trying to make the biggest circle you can, giving yourself permission to not be able to make a very large circle. It's okay if it's a small circle. Now, arms are going to be out to the side. If you need to put your hands down for a second, your arms down, just take a break. It's all good. But turn both palms up towards the ceiling and then even slightly further back a little bit. So you're going to rotate almost like thumbs pointing back, and then the other way. So palms are going to go down towards the floor and then turn as much as you can. If you can see yourself anywhere, try to check how high your arms are. You want them to be as parallel to the floor as you can. Go the other way again, up and back. You want your arms to be parallel to the floor, but you don't want to lift your shoulders. You want your shoulders down. And then again, forward, our palms forward, thumbs down and back. And then think about maybe even reaching the sides of the walls a little bit, just to straighten and lengthen your arms. Okay, put them down. They might be burning now. That's good. That's all good. Now we're going to do some shoulder mobility. So if you have a wall nearby, that would really, really help. I'm going to show you from this stack of risers, so that pretend this is a wall. Start with your arms straight out in front. And if you have a wall, put your fingertips, just the tips of your fingers against the wall. And then I want you to pull your arms away from the wall, but not bend your elbows. It's exactly how that sounds. So pull your arms back, but elbows are straight. So just pull from the shoulder blades and then touch the wall. Pull back, touch the wall. Do that like 3 to 5 times. And then if it's feeling pretty easy, take a tiny step back, like 1 or 2 inches. Don't take a full step back. And then do it again. Now, if you can try to reach the wall again, but don't lean towards it. It's all shoulder blades. And it's okay to round your back a little bit, but only a little bit. So what I mean is if I have to do this little curve here, that's okay, but not this. Don't exaggerate it to get to the wall. And then if you can still touch the wall and you want to try it, just take a little step back again and keep going. There will be a point where you absolutely cannot touch the wall. And it's not essential. You don't have to touch the wall. It was just a tool to help move from the shoulder blades and not the elbows. All right, put all of that down. We're going to do some hip stuff. So if you're balancing on one leg, so if you need to put your hand against the wall or something, go near the thing you can hang on to. One leg is going to come up and you're going to make a big half circle and then put it down behind you. So now my feet are kind of like in an angle, sort of an open half circle. Bring that back leg up and then feet together. So I'm back to my starting position. Same side. Up and over. Up and back. Keep going on the same leg. Try to make this as big as you can, but you're not moving your front foot. So that's going to be the part that limits most people, because when I go bigger and bigger, I can't turn my leg anymore. And if you haven't been turning your legs, or if you haven't been moving this way, you will find this is a little scary for the knee. It'll make you feel like your knee is going to turn in. That's what we're working on. So make it small enough that it's not hurting, that it doesn't feel risky on the knee. Okay, same thing on the other side. Take a little break if you need to. Shake out your legs. Other leg up, big, big, big. Put it down. Lift it up again and bring it back. As big as you can. As far back as you can, protecting your front knee. So it's going to be bent a little bit. And if that knee feels like it's turning or twisting, make it smaller. Don't go so big that you are putting any pressure on the inside of your knee. The stuff that strengthens our joints or our body also potentially hurts it if it's done, incorrectly or poorly, or this is a fine line. Everything is kind of like that. Everything's a fine line. What makes our body better could also hurt it if we don't do it properly. One more. Okay, march it out, shake it out. We're going to do something similar again, this time with more control. So the same kind of motion, but you're not going to turn your body. So you're not going to take this step over to the side and back. So the first leg we began with, lift it straight up. It's good to go slow. Open to the side, but don't turn your body. Put it down wherever it goes.
New season now streaming exclusively on Paramount Plus.
Hear the radio, Mom. I thought you were talking to us.
No, I said launch.
Can you mute yourself? I'm just going to mute everybody. All right. Same thing, though. Keep going. If you've done 5 or so, then you can switch legs. And this should create quite a burn in your hip flexor down the front of your thigh. I probably need to spotlight myself because we've got more people here. Yes, I do. All right, other leg. Same thing on the other side. Leg comes up in front. Take your time. Open to the side as wide as you can. I'm wobbling without turning your body. Put your foot down. Come up on the side. Bring your leg forward. And go again. I said at the start, it's good to go slow. Really, for this kind of thing, the slower the better, because the longer that you're holding your leg up, the longer you are asking your muscles in your hip to engage, the muscles in your leg to balance. So slower is going to be the thing, not how many reps we do, like 10 plus. That's not what we're trying to do. Super slow would be more valuable. Okay, shake out the legs. We're going to do one more on our feet, and then we're going to change gears. Oh, no, two more. Next one is calf raises. Same thing. It's kind of a balance exercise, even though you're not really on one foot, but hand on the wall or a chair if you need to. This is my my fitness office. It's the big square, the big box from Arcana, the gym, and that's what I'm pointing to hold on to if you need to. But a chair or the wall. Feet should be hip width apart. Feet pointing forward. So pay attention to the angle. A lot of people are turned out, and it puts a lot of things at misalignment. So if you can, put them forward, or even just turn them in a little more. But we're not usually like this. This is almost never recommended. So forward or slightly out is the best. Lift your heels up as slow as you can, but come up as high as you can on your tiptoes. Hold. And then go down as slow as you can. And I have been working on this pretty consistently for like a month, 2 or 3 times a week. So I'm getting good at it. A couple weeks ago, I was really not good at this. Like I wobbled all over the place. So don't watch this and think like it should be like that. It's probably not. It's probably going to be very wobbly. That's okay. Just keep at it. Heels come up really slow, as high as you can. Hold. Down, down, down as slow as you can. One more. And I know because I feel it. This kind of stuff is Not fun. It's annoying. It's you're wobbling and it's hard. It is so valuable though. I've started putting it in because I want my ankles to be strong, my calves, my feet. So I'm doing it more because it's valuable. Next part is with a mini band. So grab it. If you don't have it, you can do the same movements without. It's better if you have it because the resistance around the legs is going to help increase the intensity. So a strong band would go above the knees. I'm going to rephrase that. The higher on your legs, the easier it's going to feel. The lower on your legs, the harder it's going to feel, with the exception. If you are using one of these fabric bands, these really strong ones, I really doubt that it would be around your ankles. It would probably be too unstable around the ankles. The stretchy ones can be around the ankles. So up around the knees, I am going to set a timer. We're just going to do the classic side-to-side steps and then taps. If you have somewhere to hang on to for the taps, that would be better. All right, we're just going to step side to side in 3, 2, go. Exactly how it sounds. I'm going to break it down into all of the all of the technique points that you want to hit, like making sure your feet are pointing forward. Feet forward, not turned out. You want to find the right alignment for your pelvis. So everyone's a little different. I have to tuck my tailbone. Some people will have to extend their tailbone. That's, it depends on the body. It depends on where there is tension in your body. And then the last part that I think is important, everyone will be a little different. Some people might be more vertical and some might be more bent. Both are good. Just keep stepping side to side. I like it. I feel it best if I'm a little more bent over, but that doesn't mean it's true for everyone. Okay, now feet are going to be together. This one is better if you hang on to something for everyone, even if you have no mobility issues or you can stand on your own. Still better if you hang on to something. One leg is going to tap out to the side and back. Tap out to the side and back. Just one side. We often go right, left, but for this one, I just want you to do one. It is better if you hang on. I'm not going to hang on because when I turn to the side, you can't really see it. If you hang on to something, it will encourage better technique. So it doesn't matter how mobile or how athletic anyone is. It's better if you hang on because it will make your technique better. Let's switch sides right away. Go to the other side. So this one is similar, that if you feel it more bent over, that's great. If you feel it more straight, standing vertical, that's good too. It's all good. What we're going for is that the muscles around your hip and your bum are burning. Could even be the front a little bit, the hip flexor. The standing leg is definitely still working. And then now we're going to go right side, left side. This is what we would normally do in a class. So one on the left, step in, one on the right, step in, one on the left, one on the right. Stretch the band as far as you can. If you have done this a lot and you'll probably get into a rhythm, you might be limiting the motion because you're just you're not really paying attention. You're just going through the motions at that point. See if you can stretch out just a little farther, really, really reach as far as you can. One more each side. Good. We are going to repeat all those later, but for now, take it all off. Drop the band. Whew. Next part. Let's grab a light. If you have a range of weights, I want you to start with your lightest. We're going to do bent over row, and then we're going to do a seated shoulder press. We did these last time. So somewhere to sit down would be good. If you don't have anywhere to sit or you just don't want to, I'm going to show you why we're sitting. If you don't have anywhere to sit, skip that part. But if you do, we're going to add a little bit of an extra element to that part of the movement. So single side row and single arm press. Grab the lightest you have. Don't start with maybe the heaviest, or don't start with maybe even what you would normally start with. I want you to go lighter. I'm going to grab my weights. And I'm going to start a timer. Now we're going to do everything on one side, and then we will go through it twice before we switch to something else. There won't be any actual rest intervals at the moment, but we are just going to move really slow and not worry about how much we do. We're just going to work at our own pace. So if you're not doing as much as I am, don't worry about it. So we're starting in 20 seconds. I'm going to do this with one hand on the bench to support my back. You can do that if you want or not. It's up to you. This is a universal, stable position for everyone to do bent over row though. So if you have any pains in your back, use this technique. So one hand on the bench, grab the weight in the opposite hand and then pull it towards your hip. Back down in front of your knee and then do it again. Up to the hip and back down. The hip is important because I did this for a long time and I still see a lot of people do it, is to pull up towards their chest or their ribs. And I'm sure I even cued it that way at one point, but we have learned better. It should be towards the hip. So it's a little bit back. All right. Switch sides. There isn't a break, so just take your time. Put it down safely. My other hand on the bench. Grab the dumbbell. And then when you are ready, go again. Pull to the other side on the hip. I'm going to turn around. Keep going. The reason that we're pulling towards the hip is because when we pull up to the shoulder or the chest, that puts our shoulder joint in a bad position. It changes the angle of the shoulder joint. If you pull to your hip, you are keeping your shoulder in a nice low position. Everything is where it should be. Everything is aligned as it should be. Oh, okay, now have a seat. We're going to do a single side press with a little rotation. And if you don't want to sit down, don't do the rotation. So I'm going to press my right arm up, and then I'm going to turn and look to the right. Turn back to the center, bring it down, do it again. Press it up, and then turn and look right. When you turn, try to keep the dumbbell directly over your elbow, directly over your shoulder. If the turn is really not possible, don't do it. It's all good. Switch sides, bring it down to your lap, do it safely. Other arm up. And remember to turn towards the arm that has the weight. So left arm up, and then I'm going to turn left. So the turn is, there is good technique, and there is going to be a technique that's not so good, but it's going to be very individual. It's kind of like the wood chop. Like there's lots of ways to do these movements. What works for one might not for others. So don't worry too much about the technique. Worry about discomfort. If there's pain, it's probably not good. Don't do that. Okay, we're just going to start again. Put the weight down. Come up to your feet. You could do bent over row from the seat if you want to, but otherwise up to your feet and then just go as soon as you can. I've got my right hand on the bench. Left hand's going to grab the weight, and when you're ready, pull to your hip. Now your feet could be parallel like mine. My feet are hip width. You could also have one foot back. The foot position is totally what feels great for you or good or stable. It doesn't have to be anything. Switch sides. I'm going to turn around, but you'll just switch hands. Your foot position is truly what feels best for you. So there's such a wide range of good technique for bent over row foot position. It's just whatever feels the strongest. I think I am in the minority in that I feel strongest when my feet are parallel. Most people feel better in this movement with row if they take one foot back. I don't know. I don't know why. Everyone's body is different, where you have tension, where you have flexibility. So don't worry too much about why something works for you or doesn't. Worry about finding the things that do work. Sit down, single arm press. Take your time. So we're going to press it up And if you can, you're going to turn towards the side that's holding the weight. Rotate back and then go again. So I didn't say this at the start, and I should have. If overhead press like this is not possible, the first step would be do it without weights. Just straighten your arm. If you have mobility issues and you can't reach overhead with a weight, then don't use a weight. All right, switch sides. Or get a 1 pound dumbbell, get a 2 pound, a 3. That exists, and that's what they're there for. So get whatever you need to make it possible. If it's because you're so tight and you're working through scar tissue or tension, use this as a time to stretch. Just don't worry that it's not a strength exercise, or you're not working as hard as me or someone else. Like, none of that really matters. So use it to your benefit. Oh. Okay, rest. We're gonna stop there, grab a sip of water. We're gonna do the mini band leg stuff again, and we'll do this again. That little rotation is such a natural movement, right? Like in life, we have to turn all the time, and it does not come naturally to a lot of people. I'm so stiff that even just this little turn, I've got all this part of my torso is like burning. So yeah, if you find that rotation tough and you're not sure why it's hard, but it just feels hard, I feel that too. That's normal. Mini band, back on the legs, side to side stuff.
Jenny,
what's that?
I'm sorry. Can I ask you, when you do the press with the rotation, if you do it correctly, where and what do you feel in your muscles?
Okay. When we're gonna do it again, and I'll talk about it. I'll talk about that.
Thank you. Sorry. Yeah,
that's good. That's a good question. And that's sort of what I was just thinking about when I was talking about how it feels weird to me. But I'm gonna talk more about it. Yeah. Before we do that, let's do the mini band stuff again. So it's side to side, and then taps on the right, taps on the left, and then taps on both. We're just gonna go through this once more, because we already did it once. 5 seconds, side to side. Go. A really important part about leg, well, this is true for all body, the whole body, like arms, shoulders, legs, hips, is I'm going to show you with my arm. Keep stepping to the side, but I can turn my arm, right? Like I can turn. Well, your leg does that too. And what happens for a lot of us is that our feet are here, but our leg is still kind of turned, like the part of the leg is still kind of twisted. You want to think about twisting your legs out, which might not be possible, but that's what we're working on. Okay, one leg only, out and back. We call it torque, right? Like your leg is going to torque out, corkscrew even. That is a subtle part of the movement. But for many, many people, that is what's lacking when they are saying, my knee hurts, my ankle hurts. They are not torquing or corkscrewing their legs. And even though I'm saying it, doesn't mean you can implement it. It doesn't mean all bodies can just do the cue or the information I'm giving. You just practice it. You just try it. Switch legs. When you learn technique and you're trying it and you're like, I'm not sure if this is it, I'm not sure. The first step is just to keep trying it, practice it and practice it some more. And then in theory, it does click in theory, because of course there will be times when no matter how hard someone tries something, they don't get it. That's possible. But the first step is to keep trying it. So in this, both legs are working. The standing leg is working. Now switching right, left. This is the last part, one right, one left. Remember to make it really big. Always. Always sort of check yourself. Can I straighten out just a little farther? I had a participant once who would use her yoga mat. So she would have to get her toe like outside the mat. That was her she gave herself that rule. So she always made it big. Good work. Take the band off. Quick break. We go back to that bent over row. And then that shoulder press and rotation. And I will talk about that rotation and what is happening, what we should feel. The should feel is a tough one because everyone's different. And I'm laughing because it's hard. It's hard to teach in a general way because of that. So it's like I'm going to give a ton of information, and sometimes that is also overwhelming. 20 seconds to go. Single side row is first. Hand on the step if you want. If you don't want to, you don't have to. Hand on the step does support the body. So go. When you put your hand on the step, yes, you are supporting your body with the step. So yeah, your body is doing less. The muscles in your torso, your core is doing less. If you don't need the step, yeah, it's probably better if you don't use it, because then you're going to be using your core muscles more, your body, your torso. However, when I say that, a lot of people then think, oh, I shouldn't do that, that's bad. And I'm like, I really don't want ever anyone to think they shouldn't, because if it makes it better for you, then that's what you should do. Good. Switch sides. Take your time though. Don't rush. So I'm going to put it all the way down. I'm going to turn around so you can see me. But then same thing on the other side. Remember that we're going to the hip, which might feel weird. If you've been pulling up towards your chest, going to the hip feels so bizarre. I remember that. I had to switch techniques because I was doing it wrong for a long time. Once you've learned or heard of a new technique and it doesn't feel right, don't assume that it's bad for you because it's different. Like, just give it a shot a little longer. All right, I'm going to put it down. Let's sit. If you are standing for the shoulder press, probably not do the rotation. It's if you're seated. So I'm going to bring it up on the right. I'm going to press and then I'm going to turn. So what is happening for me is a stretch in my lats. So the muscles on the sides of my torso are being stretched, but I am also using my rotator cuff, my shoulder joint, to stabilize this weight. So it's not really going to feel like anything. Switch sides. It's not really going to feel like anything because you can't feel your rotator cuff really. That's a gray area. Yes, you can feel the muscles around your rotator cuff, but you cannot feel your rotator cuff joint turning. So that's what we're working on with this. We are asking our rotator cuff to do more work, to do more stabilizing. Turning the body, but not moving this arm, is a rotator cuff stability. It's a shoulder stability exercise. So it's not going to be, you're not going to feel any new muscles with this one. Probably not. Okay, we're going to do this one more time. Bent over row, put that down. Take your time switching. Even though the timer is going, don't rush. Last time for bent over row. Forward fold, hand on the bench if you like, and then pull to your hip. If you're able to go heavier, do that. I did not grab a different weight. I'm still using the lightest one. As we go through rounds, and this is true in any class, any workout, anywhere. Start light, build to the heaviest you can, anytime you can. Don't wait for someone to tell you to do it. Switch sides. If you are working one-on-one with someone or in a small group, then maybe the instructor will tell you specifically. But in a group, in a typical group class, it's really on you to go harder. So start light or start easy and think of progressing to a more challenging weight or movement towards the end. Build as the workout progresses as much as possible, if you can. All right, sit down again. I'm going to keep talking about this one. So I'm sitting down. I'm going to grab the weight on my right side. Feet should probably be a little wider than hips. Don't sit with them close, go a little wider. So right arm presses up and then turn to the right. Another element of this turning is that our spine, our torso should be able to move in a whole bunch of ways. Turning this way shouldn't make, it should not make your back stretch. It does for me. We should have, we want to be able to turn the body comfortably. Switch sides. So adding in this turn, it's stabilizing our shoulder joint. We are asking our shoulder joint to stabilize. We are also just practicing safe turning, twisting. We want to be able to do it, and we don't want our bodies to get mad and resist or maybe spasm. So if we practice turning in a safe, controlled way, our spine will be prepared for it later. There won't be, I don't think anyone is going to feel any one muscle with this movement. It's not like that. Oh my God. Okay. For me, rest, we're done with this part. For me, I've always had a ton of tension here. I don't really know why. And so that for me is stretching these muscles more than anything. But that's good. I want to keep those muscles loose so that when I'm putting away groceries or something, I can turn and my back doesn't get upset with me, right? Like I want to be able to do that whenever I feel like it. Think of putting on a seatbelt. Now that I'm almost 44, putting on a seatbelt is awful. I don't know about everybody else, but I hate it. It hurts. I'm always like, something is hurting. I don't know how to grab it anymore. And I'm like, that's not good. I've got a lot of years, I think, of putting on a seatbelt. I don't want it to hurt every day. So I'm thinking about that when I do certain movements in my workouts. I'm thinking of like, I want to be able to turn and my back shouldn't get angry. Let's go down to the floor. You will need weights for chest press. So we're going to have 2 arms pressing on the floor. That should be it. Just the one set of weights. We will also do glute bridge. I don't want to use a band because I want to move our feet further away. We're going to make the glute bridge harder. So a band is probably not necessary. If you really like it, keep it close. Maybe you want to put it on, but I'm not going to be using the band for my glute bridge. So down to the floor, I'm going to start the timer as I did before. We are not resting between movements, but that doesn't mean, I know that in lots of ways that for many that increases intensity, right? Not taking breaks makes it harder. I want you to go so slow that it doesn't matter that we're not taking breaks. You're just taking your time, no pressure. All right, on your back, I'm going to grab the other dumbbell. Now, floor press is a chest exercise. So think of push-ups. It's the same kind of motion. That's the same thing. We're not pushing our body, we're pushing the dumbbells, but it's the same muscles. So I'm going to begin. If you're already on your back, that's all good. I'm going to start with the dumbbells on my thighs. Elbows are close to my body, and then I'm just going to lower myself back. Now my elbows are on the floor, and I got right into position safely. From here, elbows are out slightly. Press up to the ceiling, and then bring your elbows back to the floor. Press up, back down. If you have shoulder pain when you do this, bring your elbows closer to your ribs. That is usually an easy first step to figuring out how to correct that pain in the shoulder. So elbows closer to your body might make it better. Okay, put one down. I'm going to keep the other one in my hands, both hands holding one dumbbell. Tuck your pelvis. I want you to try to push your lower back towards the floor and hold it there. Now move this dumbbell behind your head as far back as you can towards the floor, And what I do is I straighten my first fingers, my index fingers, so that my fingertips touch the floor and not my knuckles. I don't smash my hands. Do it again. Move the weight behind your head as far as you can. Tap the floor, pull it back. This is forcing us really to brace our core. We are doing a upper core exercise by moving the weight behind our head. I'm just going to do one more. I know that was the timer. Put that down beside you. Take your time. Next is glute bridge. So first, don't think about it. Just lift and hold. And then lower back down. Lift and hold. Lower back down. Now I want you to lift and hold. And I want you to tuck your tailbone. So like scoop your hips. You're still holding. If you can, lift a little higher. And now squeeze your bum as hard as you can. That's not easy for everyone. Squeezing, making a muscle squeeze is not, it's not that everyone can do it. Now, we're still holding. Lower your bum, but keep squeezing it. So continue to tuck and squeeze your glutes, but lower it as slowly as you can. So I'm on the way down. It's taking me like 15 seconds to come down. When you get to the bottom, do it again. Come up, tuck your pelvis, squeeze your bum as hard as you can, and then continue squeezing on the way down. So you're fighting. Your body is going to want to release that squeeze, like stop squeezing, and you're going to keep it squeezing. You're going to force it to keep squeezing as long as possible. Yoza. Next one. Leg drops. I'm going to start with sort of half of dead bug. The core stuff is it's sometimes really, really challenging for some. It's challenging for me because it's hard to brace our spine. So I've got my head on the floor, but my legs up. My knees are bent, and I'm going to put my arms out to the side. Move one leg out and pull it back. Other leg out and pull it back. When you move your leg out, don't move your pelvis. So the space between your lower back and the floor should be the same the whole time. Keep going. If this is too easy, meaning you can move your legs out and in and you feel nothing in your abdomen, for one, make sure you're not arching your back. There should not be a huge gap between your body and the floor. And if you want to make it harder, you could add some arms. So as one leg goes out, the other arm is going to go back. And if the arms are too much, just do the legs. Just focus on the legs. I spent ages just focused on the legs because I couldn't do it properly when I added the arms. And that was recent. That was not, 20 years ago when I first started. It was very recent. All right, hug your knees. Just take a quick break. We're going to start this again. So the core stuff, I have been asked so many times. And so I'm like, this is like, I'm sure a lot of people are thinking this. They will say to me, well, when I put my legs out, I cannot keep my back on the floor. And really what it means, what my answer is try harder to keep your back on the floor. And don't put your leg out as far. Make it smaller so that you can keep your back on the floor. That's it. That's the whole point. The spine to the floor is the whole point of this exercise. So make it as easy as necessary to make that happen. Okay, round 2. Bring the weights over to your sides. I put them on their sides first, the ends, and then I do a little bicep curl up. We're going to go back to the floor press. Whenever you're ready, press up to the ceiling and then bring your elbows back down to the floor. But remember that elbows closer to your body makes it a little kinder to the shoulder. I don't want to say better, but kinder to the shoulder joint. If you have your elbows really wide, like a T, like a letter T, that's the hardest position on the shoulder joint. Not in a good way, not a good heart. So bring them down a little bit or maybe right against your ribs. Okay, put one down. Hold the other one with both hands, end to end. Tuck your pelvis. We're bracing our core. Your spine should be towards the floor. And then move the weight behind your head as far as you can. Pull it back above your chest. Repeat. Elbows are pretty straight. So I'm moving my arms from my shoulders. Elbows are not bending. It's all happening from my shoulder. And if this causes a stretch, which it probably does in your arms or your chest, that's a good thing. You know, work within a safe range of motion, but that's a good stretch. Okay, put that down beside you and go into the glute bridge. Even though we do lots and lots of glute bridge, don't get complacent with it, because I can do a glute bridge. It looks like I'm doing it properly, and I'm not feeling it. So it's one of those ones that the technique is really important. So when you're up in this glute bridge, tuck your pelvis more, even more. Even if you were already tucked, do it more. Squeeze your bum as hard as you can. And then as soon as that timer goes, we're going to start lowering while squeezing, which is super hard. There it is. So now I'm going to keep my glutes tight. I'm going to squeeze, but then I'm also going to let myself lower, trying not to allow my glutes to stop squeezing. And it might not be possible. This is not a small, this is not a small challenge. This is actually really tough. Bring yourself back up. Do it again. Tuck, squeeze, keep squeezing the whole way down. So as your muscle is lengthening, it doesn't want to keep contracting. It wants to relax, and you are making it contract. One more time. Up, squeeze, and then down, down, down. Yowza. We're going to do one more interval of this glute bridge thing. So come up and hold again. Bring your feet close together. I'm going to do marching. So my feet are together. I'm going to tuck my butt, tuck my pelvis, hands to the floor hard. Lift one foot up, put it down, switch legs. Other foot up, put it down. Now, when you lift your foot, I also want you to lift your butt at the same time. Lift your foot and your butt. Yeah, put it down. Other side, lift your foot and your butt. It's really tough. These are exercises that look I think they look relatively simple, but if you do them poorly, it's not going to work. Okay, put it down. Legs next, leg drops. Hands can stay out here. Let's lift our legs. Try to tuck your pelvis, push your spine to the floor, and then one leg at a time, out and back, keeping your spine against the floor. Now, not all bodies can make their spine touch the floor. I kind of can, but I've got a fair bit of butt. So when I can't tuck my pelvis that much. I still have body between me and the floor. That's okay. Just try to push your spine towards the floor. We're just going to do one more here. I know that I'm adding on, but one more with the arms. So arms are up, legs are up. If the arms are too much, don't do it. So now one leg goes out, opposite arm goes back, spine does not move. This is entirely just training your core to brace your spine so that your spine doesn't move. Your arms and legs can move all over the place. Your spine won't move. That's what we're going for. We want to be able to brace our spine, and then at other times we also want our spine to move freely. 5 seconds. This will be the last one for me. Okay, rest. Hug your knees. We're just going to do a tiny bit more, which is more mobility. Mobility and strength go together, because if you can't move freely, it's hard to strengthen the area. So they really do go together. Like, think of when we're doing shoulder press. If you can't press up because of lack of mobility or limited mobility, then you're not able to strengthen in that way. So we're just going to do a little bit left. Come up to your side or turn to your side. Take your top hand, put your hand up. That just reminded me. I was saying this to Janet at the start of the class. I went to a rugby tryout last night. I wanted to do it in high school in grade 9. I chickened out. Ignore that. And so, 30 years, 25 years later, here I am. I'm trying out for a rugby team. And we had to fall down without using our hands. Fall down all the way down and then get back up. That was brutal. I'm strong, but that was very, very hard. Okay, hands and knees, just a tiny bit more. But what I was going to say, the core, when I talk about bracing the spine, like spine to the floor, what we're working on in that applies to all the other movements. It applies to everything else. So when you're just reaching for something on a shelf, we want to train the body to not extend to an unsafe place. Our spine we want it to be supported instinctively. So this is what we're working on. I'm going to use these dumbbells just because my wrists hurt. We are going to do some scapular movement again. This is similar to how we began. We started with this. Now we're on our hands and knees, and I want you to move your body towards the floor with your elbows straight. Exactly how that sounds. So my body is going to go down as far as I can, and then push away as far as I can. Down as far as I can, and push away. Elbows completely straight. I often see people doing this, and their elbows are moving. If your elbows are moving, you're not using your shoulder blades, and we want to. Our shoulder blades are often very tight because humans, that's the way we stand and sit. If it's tight, we can't move. And if it's tight, it could actually cause nerve problems, which a lot of us have. So try to get the shoulder blades to open wide and then pinch together as far as you can. And when you do this, head should be up. Don't look at your knees. I have to lift my head quite a bit because I have a very bad habit of rounding my neck. So head comes up, look ahead a little bit on the floor. All right, last one. This is in the same sort of vein as cat-cow, right? We're trying to get our spine to move with our control. Last little bit, bring one foot beside your hands. And I know this is a classic move. We've done this I do it, Mary Jo does it, we love it. It is a combination of hip strength, leg strength, and mobility. Mobility is how well the joint can move. So it's a pretty brutal one. Like, this is not easy for a lot of bodies. If you find it hard, don't take it hard, because it is. It's a challenging move. If you're not able to get your foot on the floor, I see a lot of times people will just put their toe here. That's not going to work. It's not enough. It's like saying I'm training for running by just walking. You have to do the thing to do the thing. So if you need to make it easier, put your hands on something, like the corner of the coffee table. The higher you are, the easier it is. The lower you are, the harder it is. So you want to start high to make it easy, and then lower it. This step is amazing because I can just take one off. Then you lower it and working your way down towards the floor. Just a couple more. This one is so valuable. If you find it's doable, but you just really hate it, then keep doing it. Like, do it anyway. If it causes pain, and you can't do it, that's a different thing. But this kind of stuff that requires it's almost like physio. You got to push through the discomfort in the joints to help improve the movement. Keep at it. It will get better. One more each side, and then we're done. Good, that is it. We are finished. Come up any way you can. And I was just thinking, I appreciate the question anytime. If you have questions on any of the movements that we do in any of our classes, send me an email with it, and then I can base our workouts around some of that stuff, because I'm not sure. I know generally what I should teach, but I like to know exactly what someone has a question on, because then I can answer that question. I love that. So tell me anytime, or send me an email, and I'll just start taking notes so I can shape these classes a little more specifically.